Hello everyone and welcome to Box Office Receipts. I'm your host Tyler Callahan and we got the latest box office numbers with Alien Romulus opening up. We got the latest news from Hollywood in regards to film updates, streaming updates, and more. So let's start with the domestic top 5. Opening in first place was Alien Romulus with $41.5 million. Dropping to second place was Deadpool and Wolverine with $29 million for a total of $545.8 million. Third place was It Ends With Us with a decent drop of 52%. It earned $24 million for a total of $97.7 million. Fourth place was Twisters with $9.8 million for a total of $238.4 million. And in fifth place was the re-release of Coraline, which made $8.3 million for a total of $11.3 million. Alien Romulus had a great opening weekend, and there was a surprise to it that we will talk about in a minute. Domestically, this is the second best opening for the franchise, and it has gotten great reviews, with it at a 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. One issue, though, might be how it holds for the rest of its run, as the cinema score from audiences came in at a B+. That's not bad, but not great either. One thing that helps is that it did get a better grade than Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which both got a B. Still, it can still have a great run, and if it can get past 85 million, it will become the second highest grossing film in the franchise domestically, behind Prometheus at 126.4 million. In China, Alien Romulus had a fantastic opening, coming in first place with 26.1 million. In second place was Detective Conan, the $1 million pentagram, which opened to 16.5 million. Third place was Go for Broke, which opened with 14.3 million. Fourth place was Successor with another 8.7 million for a total of 437.8 million. And in fifth place was White Snake Afloat with 6.9 million for a total of $41.5 million. So a very strong start for Alien Romulus. And as to why, well, there are a few reasons. First, the movie is uncensored, as no cuts were needed to be made to get approval to be shown in the theaters. That and the fact there was a lack of big horror movies in China for the past few months, that provided audiences with something different. There have been a few big movies in China at the box office over there, but it's been more of a mix of comedies and dramas. So having a horror movie come out of nowhere, being something different, scare the audiences, they're interested in that. And in general, it's also getting good reviews from audience, so word of mouth is strong over there as well. Even with a half-decent second weekend, there is a chance this could pass 100 million, which would be crazy considering how Hollywood movies have done recently. Internationally, Alien Romulus made 66.7 million for a worldwide opening of 108.2 million, with China contributing a big part of that. It Ends With Us made 33.1 million for a worldwide total of $180 million. Deadpool and Wolverine made another 32.9 million for a worldwide total of 1.143 billion. Despicable Me 4 earned 14.7 million for a worldwide total of 847.4 million. Inside Out 2 is now at 1.62 billion and has passed Frozen 2 to become the highest grossing animated film of all time. To be fair, that depends on if you count the Lion King remake as an animated film or not. If you do, then it needs to pass 1.656 billion, which this rate it should be able to do. Trap is now at 62.3 million, and Twisters is now at $333.4 million worldwide. We start off with Paramount, as they have extended the Go Shop period for another 15 days, because the story just doesn't want to end. This is due to Edgar Bronfman Jr. coming in at the last minute with an offer of his own. Initially, his group made an offer worth $4.3 billion, but when that was turned down, it was up to $6 billion. So now the end date is September 5th. And in the meantime, we see if Paramount can reach a deal with Bronfman. If not, then they move forward with the Skydance deal. Personally, this happened so fast, I don't think the talks will get too serious, but who knows. Deadline reports that J.J. Abrams' production company Bad Robot is in talks with Warner Brothers to extend their film and TV deal. It is expected that the deal will be worth less than the last one 5 years ago, which was worth $250 million. And that makes sense, as that was peak TV and before the pandemic. Also, need to take into account that while Bad Robot has been producing, they have not done anything major for Warner Brothers under that deal. That is changing as they are working on a new film, The Flowervale Street, and a series for Max called Duster. And then you have J.J. Abrams' secret film no one knows much about. As for casting updates, Deadline has the exclusive on just about all these, really. Claudia Doumit has signed on to join Soulmate. This is the Megan spin-off film. Kerry Condon has signed on for the D-Day film Pressure, playing the role of Captain K. Summersby. This is Dwight D. Eisenhower's aide. We talked about this one before, with it also starring Andrew Scott and Brendan Fraser. Production is set to begin next month. And the big casting update we got from Deadline is on Alejandro G. Inarritu's next film, starring Tom Cruise. Well, we now know a few more who will be joining, including Jesse Plemons, Sandra Huller, John Goodman, Sophie Wilde, and Michael Schwahlberg. And Riz Ahmed is in talks to join as well. This is a fantastic cast, and I can't wait to watch it. We got some new films in development. The In Snyder broke the news on Loose Cannons. The film is an action comedy over at Lionsgate with Travis Kelce set to star in it. Sony is developing a new Anaconda film. It'll be directed and written by Tom Gormorkin, who made The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent back in 2022. As for casting, both Jack Black and Paul Rudd are in talks to star in it. The Hollywood Reporter mentioned that this has been in development since last year, with Columbia Pictures trying to find the balance of the different tones. Universal is working on a film adaptation of Ruiner. This is a video game with a futuristic setting of 2091. The game itself came out back in 2017, and Wes Ball has signed on to direct. And in another Deadline exclusive, they report that Apple Original Films have bought a new film package called Weekend Warriors. It is based on a German film that came out last year called Weekend Rebels. Steven Krobowski is set to direct, with Mark Wahlberg set to star in it. Plan B and the Spring Hill Company are producing, with LeBron James as a producer. And not a new film. We've talked about this one before, but Focus Features have bought the worldwide rights to Chloe Zhao's next film, Hamnet, which will star Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley. Universal Pictures will handle international distribution. And in deaths this week, Phil Donahue died at the age of 88 after a long illness. He hosted a talk show called The Phil Donahue Show, which ran for 29 years, from 1967 to 1996. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family during this time. Richard Simmons' brother Lenny Simmons told People magazine that Richard Simmons died due to complications from recent falls as well as heart disease. Tony McFarr, who also died recently. Deadline reports his death was due to an irregular heartbeat, which was caused by an issue with his heart valves. Thoughts and prayers go out to their families during this time. May they rest in peace. And Ryan Reynolds posted online that co-star Rob Delaney's late son Henry got a tribute in the credits for Deadpool and Wolverine. Henry Delaney died at only 2 years old due to brain tumor. I know we always say fuck cancer on the podcast, but also fuck tumors as well. For release dates, the only one we got is from Sony and Crunchyroll, and that is Overlord: The Sacred Kingdom. Will come to theaters on November 8th. For trailers this week, A24 released one for their upcoming movie Y2K. The disaster comedy is directed by Kyle Mooney and comes out December 6th. Warner Brothers and New Line released the first trailer for The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim. This is the animated Lord of the Rings film, and it comes out December 13th. And in what I think is a first, a trailer has been removed. This week, Lionsgate recalled their trailer for Megalopolis after it turned out the critics' quotes that they used in it turned out to be fake. Not sure how that happened. For VOD Premium, let's start with Disney. And the big news from them is that The Acolyte has been cancelled after just one season. While the show did leave on a few cliffhangers, the cancelling isn't too surprising. The show started off with good viewership, but steadily got worse each week instead of going up, or even staying consistent. On the Marvel Studios side, James Spader is coming back to reprise his role as Ultron in the upcoming Vision series. Spader was one of the best parts of Age of Ultron, so it'll be good to hear his voice again in the role. And Reuters broke the news that there might be issues with the Reliance-Disney merger in India. The Competition Commission of India has raised concerns to both parties that if the merger went through, they would have a tight grip on cricket rights in the country. Both parties have 30 days to respond and explain why a full investigation shouldn't happen. I still think the merger will go through, but it seems clear that the CCI want some of their cricket rights to be sold off. With Disney and Reliance go through that if asked, we will see. Who knows? For Paramount Plus, they released a trailer for the upcoming second season of Frasier, which is set to premiere on September 19th in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia. For A24 and Peacock, Brad Caleb Kane has been hired as the new creator, showrunner, and executive producer for the Friday the 13th series. Over at Max, we got some release dates. The Watchers will make its streaming debut on August 30th. From HBO, we got a new documentary about The Sopranos and David Chase, the creator, called Wise Guy, David Chase, and The Sopranos. It premieres on September 7th. Michaela Cole is set to star, write, and executive produce a new series called First Day on Earth. The series will be a co-production between HBO and BBC, with A24 also partnering on it. Filming begins next year. And we finally have an update on Salem's Lot, with it being confirmed it will be available on Max sometime in October. In the exclusive from Variety, they report that a prequel series for Pacific Rim is in development. This comes as Legendary have signed a first look deal with Eric Heisner, Carmen Lewis, and their production company Chronology. Worth noting, this is a TV first look deal. As for what Heisner has worked on before, he was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay back in 2017 for Arrival. I'm curious where this one is going to go, because for distribution, this franchise has been everywhere. The first film was distributed by Warner Brothers, the second one was distributed by Universal, and then the anime series went to Netflix. So there's no clear, this is where this series is going to go if it gets greenlit and comes out. It's could be anyone at this point. Apple could come in and pick it up. At Amazon, comedian Jimmy Carr is set to host a UK adaptation of Last One Laughing for Prime Video, which will be 6 parts, or I guess 6 episodes. Prime Video is also making an anthology video game series called Secret Level, produced by Amazon MGM Studios and Blur Studio. It'll have 15 episodes, each focused on different franchises, including Pac-Man, Armored Core, The Outer Worlds, and some from PlayStation as well. And in another exclusive from Variety, the anime series Naruto will get its own channel on Freevee. No word on when the channel will be available, but I assume it will be soon. We got the Netflix Top 10 for the week of August 12th to the 18th. For English films, The Union debuted in first place with 33.1 million views. In second place was Kingsman: The Secret Service with 15.2 million, and in third place was Kingsman: The Golden Circle with 9.6 million views. As for English TV shows, the first part of the 4th season of Emily in Paris debuted in first place with 19.9 million views. In second place was American Murderer: Lacey Peterson with 12.4 million views, and in third place was the 4th season of The Umbrella Academy with 7.6 million views. Netflix has gotten the rights for Studio Ghibli's Grave of the Fireflies for over 900 countries, and it will be available to stream starting September 16th, excluding Japan. Anya Taylor-Joy is returning to Netflix to star in a new limited series called How to Kill Your Family. It'll be an adaptation of a best-selling novel written by Bella Mackie. And in an exclusive for Deadline, they are reporting that Millie Bobby Brown is working with Netflix on a new film that will be an adaptation of her first novel called 19 Steps. Anthony McCartan is set to write the screenplay, with Brown set to at least be a producer and possibly star in it as well. Also coming to Netflix is The Piano Lesson, as they just released the first trailer for it. The film is an adaptation of a play from August Wilson and stars John David Washington, Danielle Deadwyler, and Samuel L. Jackson. It'll be premiering at the Toronto International Film Festival, with it being available to stream later in the fall. The streamer announced some casting updates for the second season of One Piece, with Katie Siegel playing Dr. Kura, Mark Harlick playing Dr. Heluk, and Charitha Chandan playing Miss Wednesday. And we wrap up with Apple TV Plus, where Variety broke the news that Timothy Olyphant has signed on for a guest role for the golf comedy series that will star Owen Wilson. As for renewals, Apple TV Plus has renewed Criminal Record for a second season, with both Peter Capaldi and Crush Jumbo returning. The first season premiered back in January. I enjoyed it and definitely think it's worth a watch. Glad to see it's coming back. And in the big news, Deadline broke that Ted Lasso is looking to come back for a 4th season. It's still early on details, but Warner Brothers Television has picked up options on some of the original cast members, meaning that they are keeping them on for a new season. As for Jason Sudeikis, it looks like he'll be back at least as an executive producer. And look, as much as I would enjoy seeing Sudeikis come back as Ted Lasso, considering where his character is at the end of season 3, it's best to leave him be unless it's for a guest appearance. Curious to see how this turns out though, and Apple must have pushed hard for this, considering it is still their most popular series on the service. And that's it for this episode of Box Office Receipts. If you want to follow me on Blue Sky, Threads, or Instagram, links to those are in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.